that song because I don't pay royalty frees. It's What's Up, Flobo After Hours, episode 20 plus. Very, very special episode. I'll tell you why in just a minute. Just want to say thank you so much for checking this out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Twitch. Hey, if you're listening live on Twitch, do that whole like, subscribe thing, support the homie. Everyone's in the chat having a grand old time. What's Up, Flobo After Hours, brought to you by Clipper Ranks. If you're like me, you're part of Beard Gang. Get fresh to death at clipperranks.com. Use promo code Flobo for a discount. Now, I am not alone, as I'm always am. I have to introduce my guest this evening. Introducing first, this guy. This guy is the most downloaded guest I've ever had on the What's Up Flobo After Hours. Please welcome Hail Jim Alexander.
Why am I not surprised? Of course I'd be the most downloaded of all time. Most downloaded, uploaded. I'm like Sunny back in the day, okay, with AOL. I'm just better because I'm modern right now.
Fair enough. But you're not alone as well because we have the most requested guest ever also here. Give it up for Miss TK Trinidad.
You hear that, Jim? The most requested guest.
I thought it was going to be Sunny to kind of even it out. The most downloaded. And
I don't got Sunny's number. I'm sorry.
Hey, we can get it on some. Hey, you sign up for, website and stuff, you get everything you want.
Haywood Wong's are in the chat. He's like, TK is here. Let's go. Dylan Matthews in the chat.
There we go.
Thanks for rolling with us.
Dylan?
Yeah, we're having a grand old time here. It's the holiday season. Officially started. Thanksgiving. Y'all do anything fun for the holiday at all?
Just eat. I mean, I'm Canadian, so.
Oh, you celebrated already? But you're here. You're here in LA, though.
I am, but I mean, it's not like my family. Like my family's on the East Coast, so it's not really a big deal.
Gotcha. Same here. I was solo. Jim, what did you do?
When? Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
He's like,
do you not? I'm the only one who. Okay. Do you celebrate?
I had some turkey, and then I was hoping for like Sunday Night Football. I got pissed when it didn't. Then I had girl drama. So
girl drama.
Tell me more.
Which one? Which story?
Oh, geez.
The one that's giving you drama.
Something never changed.
Listen, it's hard to be talking to three women, in the same span of time and trying to figure logistics out.
Before you do that, though, I was going to say, Dylan Matthews says, I'm just here to keep tally of every single time Centering Company gets a mention. But
well, it's going to be a long night.
Maybe you do centering some cocoa butter to smooth things out for your girls there, Jim.
Does your girlfriend use cocoa butter?
Out after that.
It is Chicago. It is ashy season.
There you go. Buy a little gift. There's a little discount going on. Buy one, get 50% off. Give it to your girls, then.
Cyber Monday deal. It just expired.
So
Cyber Monday. There it is.
I like how you guys are hustling two different ways. Jim got 3 dates. Centering got 3 promotions going on at once. But that's cool. I'm actually a customer, client of Centering. It's dope if you guys want to partake in that. But
that's right. Hey, I smell that cocoa butter. It's good stuff. I will not deny that. And yeah,
all natural stuff. You could use it for yourself and other people.
At the same time, you rub them down or
whatever you want.
Whatever you're rubbing.
Oh, yo! Shout out to the Bay Legend who says 3 women cap. Oh snap! You gonna take that shit? So, anyways, you're saying, Jim Alexander, you said you had problems with ladies over the weekend. Why? Is it because they all wanted you at their house for Thanksgiving, or for any other reason?
Man, just drama. Listen, I women are crazy. Guys too, but women are, tough.
Why is that?
I don't know if it's the corona getting around or whatnot, but
yeah,
just. You'd imagine chicks that are, kind of like late 20s or over 30, they'd have their stuff together, but apparently not. There's a whole lot of crazy going on. And yeah, I had like 10 phone calls while I was entertaining another guest.
Wait, is calling you making them crazy? Like if someone calls you, you're crazy?
Calls and then I get yelled at and all that. What did I do? I couldn't pick up for a couple hours,
Wow, because she knows that you have somebody else at your house.
Hey, Friday nights at the gym, you know what I mean?
Let me ask you this, man. I know Corona's time is crazy and everyone's been affected, not infected, affected in their own way.
Or infected.
But like as a lady, how does the dating game switch up for you? Have you done virtual datings? Do you guys have to qualify for now?
I've been going out. It's actually picked up since September.
Good as picked up. Business is working.
Why?
It's picked up in September. I had a little situation in the summer. It kind of went awry. I had to get a restraining order. But
What?
Wait, like a fan? Like a fan was hitting you up, or?
No, somebody I was dating, and then he went a little crazy, and I had to get a restraining order.
Oh snap! Well, sorry to hear, man.
What's crazy? You see, this is the journalist in me wants to know. Describe crazy. Describe what.
Well,
crazy is a vague term, but I don't want to explain it.
It was like.
If you don't want to talk about it, I totally understand. Because what he actually did was this. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it was a bit much. Let's just say like our worlds are two different worlds, and I come from the world of we just talk out our problems, and he comes to the world of there might have been some gang affiliation at one time or another. So
say no more. That's classic crazy. That's like don't be a menace to South Central.
PTSD, a smidge of whatever America does to poor Black Americans, yada yada yada, a whole bunch of stuff. But he's out, so it's picked up since September, so I can't complain.
Dylan Matthews says, restraining order. I guess we know why TK got the name Canadian Assassin.
Yeah, guys never to be heard of from again. That's why
I'm just living my life. I'm just trying to live my life. I'm just trying to, be the best, make little TKs and populate the world, yada, yada, yada.
What? Wait, when did this happen?
When you say business is picked up, what exactly do you mean now?
I mean, eventually make little TKs to populate the world. That's always been the goal. World domination.
When did this happen?
Wait.
What realm are we in right now?
She did say this when we were at AfterBuzz. She was like, I need like 12 kids. She wanted like 12 or 5? 7. 5 kids. She wanted 5 kids. Yeah, that's years. Yeah. I mean,
guess
that's crazy.
I really picked up with the cocoa butter since you can now afford it. All these kids and to get those diapers and everything, man.
You're so romantic, Jim.
You
romantic mother trucker, dude.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Hey, people say that kids are the future, and then people have that instinct to be a dad. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you do, Jim. Right?
Hey, I'm not aware of any kids at the moment, but
I didn't say you had any now, Jim. I'm saying, would you like to be a dad at some point?
Yeah, no, that's the goal. I mean, I have bigger life goals, but that's something I like to achieve and have. I mean, I guess you get to an age where you kind of want some stability and see what else is next. Here's the thing: my buddies have all had kids and all that, so it's like, wow, did I turn to that age where everyone I know has kids and married up?
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, probably.
You old as hell. No,
I'm like that. Harry Potter will never grow up.
It's an LA thing. When you live in LA for a while, you kind of start living a different.
Yep.
It's like a different world, and then your friends who live in normal places where they're not running to interviews or doing all their creating shows and all sort of stuff. They're living their life, and so it's I had friends. When I was in college, they were getting married. I was running track and they were getting married, having kids in Canada, just because, not that there's nothing to do, but it's different priorities. I was literally trying to run for the Olympics and they were making babies and getting divorces and getting married and shit. So
wait. So I know you did track, right? I know you did track. You mentioned it before, but you were actually Olympic hopeful? You actually
I ran in the Junior Olympics, and then I went to Oregon, and then my goal was to run for the Olympics, and then I tore both my hamstrings.
At the same time?
No, one after the other. And then I tried
that's even worse.
I tried to make a comeback after I graduated from school. So that was what I was doing.
Wait, one hamstring or two?
No, I tore my right one, and then 6 months later I tore my left one.
Oh man,
I just tore mine today. I felt so weak. I was like, oh no.
There's no way you could tear your hamstring and you're sitting there drinking a cup of alcohol or whatever it is.
My leg is elevated on an ottoman underneath my desk. I came home, hobbled in, I sat in this chair for the past 4 hours.
Did you tear it or did you pull it?
It was a pull, but it felt different than before because I pulled it a bunch of times. But it was inside, deep inside the tissue. This is something different. So
I'm not tearing anything. I'm doing those inner and outer thigh exercises. Everything feels great and flexible. So That's
I'm
what
putting a promo on your sexual Paris. I'm getting my stretches in.
I swear to you, I'm the only guy at the gym that does the thigh machine or something. I've never seen a guy in my life doing that. Only obviously women, because it works. But I'm the only one that does it. And
your gyms are still open by you?
Huh? Yeah.
Oh wow.
Been open. I'm open. Man, there's some hot girls working there too, so that's always a plus. It's good.
Wow.
Good gym across the street.
Dima Katabi says, "All hell King Jim." You know what?
That's right.
But I was an athlete for like 3 months in high school. I played football. I played nose. So
Did you really say 3 months in high school?
3 months athlete. You know, I got in, had a nice career, just bowed out. You know, what I'm
Nose
saying?
tackle.
Yeah, yeah. I played nose. I was 5'9", 275. So I was on the line, D line. It was a house. You know?
Damn.
Snacks Harrison there. Snack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eating up those offensive linemen.
So I asked the chat to ask any questions for you guys throughout the episode. You guys can do that if you're listening live. Dylan Matthews has a two-parter for TK.
Ooh.
First up,
Oh boy.
he goes, "Why have you taken credit for the Bloodline faction on SmackDown yet this broadcast?" And two, how big is the check that you sent WWE? Or they sent you?
Well, one, I don't know if you know Dylan and other folks. I'm like slowly, getting it together. I just had a meeting. Women's Wrestling Weekly, now Women's Wrestling Talk, is back, and we do. Thank you. We do new Thursday live news segments every Thursday. You know what I mean? And I have taken credit for the faction, and then we have our interviews that drops every Tuesday. So I have taken credit for the faction. In fact, by the way, happy birthday to Naomi. Today was her birthday. So I do take credit for the faction. I've said it on several different occasions on a few shows. And I just throw out gems, and I don't want to check from WWE. People know. People who know will know. And it's all documented, so we can just run the tape. It's all there. But I am really loving. I'm loving and hating. I am loving. So Roman Reigns. Actually, I don't think I discussed this with you, Flobo. I think I discussed this with Sarah. Okay. Roman Reigns. I loved Roman Reigns, but that's just because he was hot. But now I have like a feeling for Roman Reigns. Like I was hating him, but like I hate to love him. So now that makes him even more sexier. So I love what they're doing with him now because it's like I have some emotion beyond him just being hot. So kudos to that. I like that.
And you're wondering why she has stalkers. Come on, man.
I thought he was hot, but now I feel him.
Yeah, wow. That's as deep on Roman Reigns as anyone has ever.
It's true. You don't feel that way?
I mean, I always like Roman Reigns. I was a fan of him.
Yeah, but
it was time he turned heel, so that's at least a good part.
Yeah, but don't you have like an emotion? Because he's tried to turn heel before, but you just didn't believe him. He was lukewarm.
True.
He was very lukewarm. Whereas now, like, I hate the fact that he's treating his family like that. But it's also like, oh, okay. Like, if you weren't married, let's just test this out somewhere else.
He's popping kids out as it is. You don't want to be in that. Well, then maybe you do. I don't know. No, I will say this. His Roman Reigns on Friday night feels like a show within a show. It feels like you're watching like a HBO show. Because just like when Paul was with Brock, it was like Brock Lesnar's my client, but on Friday, like even Paul's afraid of Roman. Like I'm just here to collect my check. Please don't strangle me, sir. So I'm all about that. Yeah,
I do wish that they would put more of the family in it, but I don't know. I'm like, I feel like obviously they're not using Naomi. They're not using a lot of people. It's not like everybody who's watched AfterBuzz knows. Like I love Naomi, but they're not using a lot of people. And they can, within that dynamic, they can. Like, why not Tamina? Like, to talk to Roman and say, why are you treating your family like this? And, there's so many different angles that they can go with that. But,
Yeah. All right, because, what you write, you write. Jim, I know that you're not really a hardcore SmackDown viewer. Because, I mean, it's Friday night at, 8 p.m. You have things to do way more important, like your dates.
People to do.
Yeah. But, I mean, have you heard about the Roman Reigns thing? Like, are you a fan of this? It's not your vibe. Like, what do you feel about Roman?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's good. I mean, what other direction would have they taken him? If he came back as a face again, it would have been the same old. He'd gotten so stale. That's why people disliked him because I mean, you had the whole cancer return, so everyone's going to be cheering on you. But then it became stale again. You needed to turn him heel, and now I think he's maximizing his persona and potential. You know what I mean? It's probably the best we've ever seen him. He's not forced anymore. I feel like he looks more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? And just roll with it. It's something new and fresh. So that's always when you can get something new and fresh, and having Paul Heyman aligned is cool because you have that, that crutch if needed, even though Roman's handling himself well. And the Samoan dynasty that TK has been calling for well over a year, it finally come to true reality. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a good thing that they have going on a show that was getting lost for a long time once it went to Friday nights.
Yeah,
I don't like giving TK credit though, but I will give you credit.
I mean, it's whoever decided on it was perfect. I mean, I don't know if you saw. I always get them mixed up, and I should know better. Jay's Chronicles on WWE, the WWE Network, and how Jimmy got injured, and so that's how he was left to his own. So whoever, I really wish that they, and I don't think they're ever going to do this, but I really wish that they would do a show in the writing room and show how some of these concepts are developed or what concept they did have and that didn't make it. Because I really wish, I'm interested in seeing that, who made that decision, because there's so many factors that happen. What if Jimmy never got injured? Would that storyline have happened, or did they always have it in play? There's just so many aspects that other questions that I have that I want to know, just out of on top of being a fan, also being a journalist and also kind of looking underneath everything. I would love to know the story, and then what other storylines did they have in play? The whole thing with Lana. Oh my God!
Oh, I love that.
She pinned Shayna Baszler clean tonight. No one can tell she's getting buried. She pinned Shayna Baszler clean.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I talked about. So I haven't seen Raw yet. So thank you for spoiling it for me. I'm just joking. But that's what I'm talking about. I'm wondering. And I watched her Chronicles too, and I now better understand her. But now I'm wondering if it was all a play, because I was getting upset for Lana. I'm like, yo, 9 times through a table.
I enjoyed it.
Come on now. I was getting upset for her. But then if that happened, then I'm because I literally said that a couple days ago. I was like, maybe I'm the one getting played. She's just that good in making me believe that they're doing that to her. And so if that's the case, then kudos to her. I'm still kind of upset because I don't want to invest that much emotion into it, but she had to do that. But
I've been saying it for years. Okay, when Lana's been saying that I'm the only one that knows what I'm talking about. We had the promo playing on there. This has been something I've been calling for years. Okay, and I spoke the truth.
I'm with you, TK. I feel like they were playing us and that giving us a way for us to feel about it. So I asked the chat to ask questions. This one's for you, Jim, from Demo. She says, Jim gives great red carpet interviews. How does he come up with the questions that sets him apart from the others? Wow.
Good question. That's a good question, Demo. Well, there's only one Jim Alexander, so of course he comes up with questions apart from anyone else that they can't come up with.
Oh,
listen, man, it's easy doing this stuff because when you're yourself and you don't, and it's I care, but I don't care about any feedback or whatever people say. It just doesn't matter. So whatever I say comes up from me, and whatever it is, it's always in the spurt of a moment. I don't plan out stuff. I don't come up with notepads and have questions written out. It's literally all of a spur of a moment. I enjoy the adrenaline. I enjoy being in the moment because, like I tell people, you don't know where a conversation's ever going to go. I had this great conversation with Nikki Whelan. Hey, my boy from Australia, Dylan, you're going to know Nikki Whelan, big-time Australian actress, doing big movies in America. I had a nice chat with her pre-Thanksgiving. Yeah, we had a little hour Zoom. So Nikki and I talked about, she used to do, back in Australia, back in the day, she used to do red carpet. So we kind of talked about the science of it. And hey, I was just like, I don't plan anything. It just happens spur of the moment. You know enough about someone, you've seen the movie, and you just go with it. Because I want to know.
Some research on them. You don't necessarily plan the questions, but you research them, right?
I mean, sometimes no.
That's what I'm saying.
But here's the thing. It's always boils down to what would I want to know as a fan, right? I mean,
but what if you don't know the person that well?
Huh? What are they as a person? Then tell me about you because I don't know shit. That's how I approach it.
Oh, let me say
I
this.
talked to some chick from some Disney show that's now like Secret Society of whatever, some girl, smart 18-year-old girl, really bright British girl with a great future ahead of her. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to see episode 1. She's like, well, it's a movie. I'm like, well, I'm going to see then the first part of the movie. I didn't even know if it was a movie or a TV show, okay? And it didn't matter because you can always
the Star Wars sense.
Okay, in a bad situation. And it doesn't bother me. The key is you just laugh it off and you keep on going because remember, it's all human interaction communication. So how do I do it? Just being me.
It's true. I was on a red carpet with Jim Alexander just to watch him work. Well, to your credit, Jim, you put me in the mix too, but I had went just to put the camera up and look good. And
do you think I knew half of the people there though? No, right? That I was talking.
You didn't. You didn't. I'm not going to say you did either. I'm not going to put you over that way. But what I thought was cool, is like the way, like almost like how you talk about your dating exploits. You see the celebrities, and you kind of like guide them over. You guide them with the questions, like. So if you guys don't know, there's a picture of me with Tiffany Haddish because it's my mom's favorite comedian. She loves her death. She says, "How come Tiffany Haddish is famous, you not?" Whatever, mama. So one time we were at this red carpet and Tiffany's about to walk inside, and Jim's like, "I got this." Like, "Oh, Jim, don't bother Missy." He goes, "Yo, Tiffany, a second. My boy, his mom loves you. She wants to take a picture." She was like, "Okay, boo boo." And that would never have happened. I wouldn't even like consider to go for it to see a celebrity on the move. On the move. How was that?
Huh? Tiffany's amazing. Tiffany and actually The Rock. They both are very accommodating on the red carpet.
But you don't know that when the first time you approach them and stuff, you just have no idea. I didn't know what Tiffany Haddish was like on the first time on a red carpet. I mean, you hear stories sometimes from people. It's always the day of. You know what I mean? It changes too. Yeah. So you never know. But yeah,
and she was moving. I think was the most opera thing. She wasn't standing there on the carpet. She was like off to do something. Yo, Tiff.
No, I mean,
come over here. We need Flobo to get a picture.
Jim, I mean, if Jim knows, like, if you have to, you try. Because you never try, then like
right, you have nothing to lose. That's all I say. When you get denied, big damn deal. You just move on to the next.
Just another day.
Yeah.
What about my fragile ego? What about reputation? You don't get a reputation of being that guy.
Reputation for who? Against you, Tiffany Haddish? Like nobody cares.
No. I don't like that. I mean, if you're working red carpets, you want to be the one who's known as the guy who like hounds celebrities all the time.
Well, hey, that esteemed place that we used to do shows at, they had a lot of good pros that used to do a lot of great things, running after celebrities, trying to beg for a picture when they were clearly going into a limo or leaving. So, they were trained well. A lot of those, pros out there trying to do red carpets, and they really ended up with some great stuff, or conversations for everyone else to talk about what they saw, the amateurism.
It just depends on the person. Like I think it honestly. I've been never one to like run somebody down to take a picture. However, if it's for an interview or it's one of those things where you just have to try. If you're trying to get that interview, or at least try to get one like take, or at least one. That person might not give you an interview, but they might give you a drop. So
here's the thing: publicity is king, right? The personal says that's who dictates it. You don't want to get on their bad side. You do. If they say we're done, you got to respect that. Because if you're trying to chase, even though they say they remember faces and they will never grant you another interview. So you got to always remember, it's not about the celebrity. It never is. It's about who's their handler.
Yep.
Always.
Right. So TK, let me ask you. I mean, with your other projects, like
Jim shading other hosts, like I haven't done that before. I'm just speaking the truth. 80% of garbage when you see on a daily basis. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about that.
Well, there's definitely an art. There's definitely an art to it, and I think a lot of people
art to shading or art to interviewing.
Well, I'm not shading, but I feel like a lot of people think that it's easy to do. Just like a lot of people think that it's easy to do podcasts, and it's like, yeah, you can do a podcast for you and your 5 friends, but do you want to do a podcast where you're actually making some money? And do you want to do a podcast where people are actually watching that are not people that you know? Like that's a whole nother science behind it. And I just think that people legitimately think that this is easy, and it's fun, yeah. But all the stuff that happens in the background, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. And so you have a lot of people who think that they're hosts just because they have a mic. And yeah, anybody can buy a mic, and anybody can go and do interviews and all this other stuff. Especially if you're in LA, like celebrities all over the place. However, there's just a fine art to it, and you don't necessarily have to go to school. You just have to surround yourself with either the right people, or look at the hosts that are actually doing legitimate stuff, and kind of take from them.
Can you pull up what Dylan Matthews wrote, Flobo, for a second?
Dylan Matthews says, speaking of AfterBuzz, Josh Tariff is on Cameo for $17 Australian if anyone's interested.
Listen.
What? Who's on camera?
Josh Tariff, Christian Rosenberg, SmackDown.
He's on camera for what?
Cameo for $17 Australian, so that's about $11 US.
What's Cameo?
Cameo's when you can, like, a celebrity can do, like, little shout-outs. So you can, like, pay a celebrity to give you a shout-out.
So you're paying Josh to give you a shout-out?
In theory, yeah.
Oh.
Listen, I would rather pay $16 Australian not to get a shout-out, okay? If you want to toss away money like that for nothing, that's absolutely... I mean, that's get a dumpster fire and light it up.
Why, man? Josh is at home sitting, probably having a nice meal. You're just shading him for no reason.
Hey, man, I just got it. Here's the thing. If that's what Cameos come to, man, this is a problem with the company.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. This is it. That is your opinion, Jim. However, you have to remember that people, like what you do for a living, people look at you and you're like, oh my God, you're an amazing guy, right? Yeah. So people say somebody's gonna pay $25 for you to do a cameo. I look at them like, yeah, but I know Jim. I have his number. Like he's not to me, he's not very hard to contact, or you know what I'm saying? However, there are people that don't know you like that, or look at you like, oh my God, Jim's so amazing. What I would do to just, get him to say my name, they'll pay $25 for that. Like it's one of those, so, shout out to Josh for doing that. If he's making money, then kudos.
Well, if you guys are live in the chat, I want a free shout out.
SmackDown, he's making a boatload then.
Let's talk about this, man. No, let's talk about this. One of the cool things about AfterBuzz was that, like, except for SmackDown, because SmackDown show was like on this little island, right? Most of us were kind of like cross-pollinate. We had NXT, we had Raw. We would spend like hours outside of AfterBuzz.
SmackDown a few times.
But like, yeah, I know. But like, by the time I got around to AfterBuzz, SmackDown was like Gabby, Tommy, and Josh. Like they were just on this island. They didn't really play nice with us. We tried a gimmick with them, and
literally on an island.
Yeah, but the question is like, well, the cool thing about the wrestling host was that most of us were like a giant family. We were talking, like, shoot this shit for like 2 hours after a show, like late as hell or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think I kind of missed that part about it. Not so much it being an AfterBuzz in that studio with COVID, but like just talking wrestling with people who are hosts. I love wrestling. I mean, that's kind of the highlights. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely what I did. There's two things I really loved about AfterBuzz. One, when I came on, it gave me a really good crash course on how to be a co-host. Because, I was coming from television and, radio and all this other stuff. So it was a little bit different. So it gave me a really great crash course on how to be a good co-host. However, the networking is what was the most important thing that I got out of it. Just because of when I got there for at least maybe the first 4 to 5 months, I was there every day doing 3 to 4 shows a day. True. And so I met a lot of people. So the networking is what was really, really beneficial for me, because no matter where I go or what I do, there's at least one person who I know or somebody knows. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's very small. And that was the great thing that I got out of AfterBuzz.
But real quick before I ask you, Jim, JLJ Media says AfterBuzz taught me how to be a good co-host too. And D-Mail also says the Raw After Show was the best wrestling show hands down. TK, Jim Flobo, and Jack Farmer All-Star panel. I just want to say that means a lot to me, because I know a lot of the fans left after Evan was promoted, after Fun Dad was promoted. The fact we had some fans that liked our version of it, that was pretty dope. But Jim, thoughts about the whole AfterBuzz wrestling thing?
No, I thought, listen, that crew that we had on Raw, I would go up against any panel on any show. I thought it was the best crew you could play. We had entertainer. It wasn't a show about wrestling. It was entertainment.
Yeah.
I mean, the gigs we had, stuff, and this stuff was just, nothing was planned. This was all for people wonder, like, I didn't plan TKs. TK never knew what the hell I'm gonna do on a week-to-week basis. It was
any of us knew what was gonna happen. That was
no one knew what I'm gonna say or talk about or what in and out chick I'm hitting up or whatever. It was just
the in and out girl. Oh my god!
Every week. I mean, it was. But that's the thing. We were having fun together and just interacting because we had great chemistry all around. No matter how you put us together, and even Evan, that crew too.
Evan, Johnny, I mean, because I came on before.
Well, I won't go that far, but
oh boy. I came on before you guys, and I think that was it was a great thing. I think all the reiterations of the Raw after show was great because every host brought something different, and it's just like if somebody left, then there was somebody there. Like it was just a really great thing, and I really I'm kind of sad that WWE didn't really see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like a legitimate.
Well, all of us were stars in a sense in our own right because like look at what we all, and the things, we were a perfect mix because everyone brought something to the table.
Right.
Flobo, we learned later on after Mac left and Flobo got the opportunity. Mac was obviously comedy. You know what I mean? He was a big personality, funny. You know what I mean? He knew how to throw it away to instigate he knew how to spark up a moment of debate, especially with me. But Flobo, I'll say, is the best host we ever had, the moderator by far none.
Yeah, definitely a Barbara Walters.
Jack was a great straight man. Jack was a great straight man in that sense.
Oh yeah.
I was just, who knows what the hell is going to happen.
Hollywood Jim, man.
You were the buffer.
Well, Hollywood Jack now too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't show with me, TK. No. Okay.
And TK was the perfect buffer. The girl in the group, the one that you know what I mean, that took control, because when it went off course and stuff, that's the middle ground right there.
I'm sorry, Jim. You make perfect sense. But TK is okay. So for those who don't know, TK has been trying to have lunch with Jack, and for some reason, she puts me in these group chats. And so when Jack curves her, she gets mad at me. What are you talking about? Why are you so mad?
Here's the thing, Jim. If you were in LA, I would invite you out too. Well, I mean, now we're on lockdown, so we're not going anywhere. But my thing is that people don't really realize. Like, I personally don't want to ever be in a situation, and knock on wood, hopefully nothing happens to you guys, like, in our like young years.
Yeah.
But I don't want to ever be in a situation that something happens to somebody and I'm like, damn, like I really wish that I would have called them, or I really wish, when you had the opportunity. So I'm typically the one, because I've had like one, like, car accident, like, like I've just had some stuff that happened in my life where now I'm really appreciative of it and I'm aware of it. So I'm typically the one that reaches out and brings people together.
Agreed.
So my thing is, it's like, okay, Flobo and Jack are in town. Like, let's go out to go and get something to eat. Because I had talked to Flobo maybe a couple weeks ago, and we were just talking. I was like, man, like we haven't seen each other forever because it's been locked down, etc. So I reach out to Jack. Don't hear from Jack at all. Mm-hmm. And then I finally left a long ass voicemail with Flobo on the phone.
Throw me under the bus. You threw me under the bus. Yes, you did.
He didn't get back to me until like 3 days later, and I'm like, "Who are you?" Like, the only person who does that is Evan, and Evan's been doing that forever. It's not even like Evan's Hollywood. Evan's just always been like that. So I'm like, "This is what we're doing now, Jack."
Hold on, TK. Hold on. First of all, that voicemail, I was on the phone call with you, and you're like, "What's wrong with Jack?" I'm like, "I don't know. Call him." He goes, "Hold on," and you added me to your voicemail. And two, TK, for as long as you know me, because it scares the hell out of you, every time you call or text, do I not respond within the hour?
No, you do.
Jack, so why am I so involved in this?
No, because I want us all to go out to get something to eat. So I feel like I need to add Flobo. Like, Flobo has nothing to do this, but he's going to witness it. So if there ever comes a time where it's just like, well, I tried. Like, no. Flobo was on the phone. No. We sent a text message. You didn't respond. So, it is what it is.
Hey, just because Jack now is doing the wrestling stand-up thing with the microphone doesn't mean, I don't know, maybe try again.
That's great for him, but that doesn't mean that, you can't respond.
All right, next time we're going to have you and Jack on the show next week. That's what you get.
Okay, well,
Oh, man.
there's 24 hours a day, and I don't sleep. I return.
You are Batman. Yes, that's true.
So I don't care. So you can hit me up whenever.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. Like the fact that we would all hang out or cross whatever. That Wednesday's shows were great. Like Jim would bring his laundry to AfterBuzz and do the laundry in the back room and stuff.
All the time.
Yeah.
Those are good old days. That free laundry, man. I think that was the most thing.
The least they could do for me for all those hours.
Right, yeah. It's like there's times where it's come in the show, like half the panel didn't even watch the show, and my dumbass had to make sure you guys looked like you were smart. Because I was the only one who watched the show that week.
Always with a notepad and the computer, you're knocking down the segments and everything. I was like, man, I would never. Remember when I host oh, you got stuff prep? I'm like, yeah, in my head. And
yeah. I have you know, one time we did Heel Night when Jim was a moderator, and they closed down the studio. They said COVID, but Heel Nights would cancel our show, and they never brought us back again after that.
Right.
And poor TK was like, wait, we doing Heel Night now?
I was like, yeah, I'm not doing
that. That's fine. I'm off track now, but TK, with Women's Wrestling Talk and Black Queens Uncut, you are doing the side hustle journalistic content thing too. How's it going for you now while you're on your own compared to the AfterBuzz era?
It's going really well. It's one of those things. So I also have Center In. So take a drink, Dylan. I also have Center In, and that really helped. On a serious note, the company really helped me keep me sane during COVID. If I didn't have that would have just being home and just having nothing. That's not how my mind works. And the business kind of blew up so much because everybody was home and everybody was buying stuff. I'm literally working on it all the time. And when we finally decided to bring back Women's Wrestling Weekly, now Women's Wrestling Talk, that was a whole thing as well. So that's going really well. We had Thunder Rosa on last week, which was really great. We had Serena from AEW on this week. So that was a good interview as well.
From AEW? I didn't hear it.
Serena.
Serena Deeb. Okay.
Yeah, the champ. So she's on this week. She's on tomorrow. So we're getting pretty much the people so for people who don't know, Women's Wrestling Weekly had been on for almost 2.5 years, and there was a good sweet spot, and then stuff happened, and AfterBuzz pretty much just blew up a lot of things. But there was
they're coming back.
Well, yeah, we're the new version of it. It's really good. I'm really happy with it. Sarah's back, and I absolutely loved her as a co-host, so she's back. We have Emily on there as well. They both have, wrestling experience. Sarah inside the ring, Emily, she's ballet before. She's hosting for primetime, etc. So, that combination is going really, really well. So we have a lot of people that rock with us, for instance, AEW and Impact Wrestling, that they're giving us people to interview. So it's coming along really, really well. So it's just little things, the little things here and there. Like I said, the back end things that people don't know on how to properly promote a podcast and all this other stuff, we're having to do. And it's not a problem. It's just being able to make the machine go, if that makes sense. Kind of get to a point where it's going by itself. So that's what we're working on right now. And then in January, I'm doing 2 more shows. So I'll have 4 shows out. So, it's going well.
Are you going to drop what these shows are about, or just going to coming soon?
One show is going to be on small businesses. So we're going to be interviewing different businesses, different small businesses, etc. The other show I'm really, really excited about, it's called Peaks and Valleys. And I'm interviewing different people from all walks of life. And it's essentially, so this year, for people who haven't been following me, COVID was, a thing for all of us. But at the same time, I was doing immigration stuff, which I think I had mentioned right before we got shut down. And then on top of that, my grandmother passed away. And it's just a lot of stuff that's happened in the last 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, I know she meant a lot to you.
Yeah, so it's just kind of oh my God, yeah, Flobo. Me and Flobo went through a whole thing too. Not us together, but Flobo helped me out. Yeah, but anyways, that's a whole nother story in itself. But so everybody in life experiences that. everybody in life experiences the ups and downs. And I feel like in interviews, we don't, we have those interviews where it's like, okay, well, tell me about, the greatest point, and now you have to promote this now. And for me, what inspires me is the stuff how people come out of those situations. And so that's what that's what that show is all about. So, I'll do a little 2 or 3 minute blurb on, what this person has done, but it's really going to be talking about like, they didn't work for 5 years in the industry and what they did during that time and how they mentally kept themselves afloat. So when the opportunity did present itself, they were there. Because if you let that, especially in the entertainment industry, if you let the fact that nobody's calling you and you're not getting booked and all this other stuff get to you, like, go home. Like it's like legitimately, there's just no like there's no way you can like survive mentally in LA. And so if you hear somebody else's story, then that's going to inspire you, whether you're in the entertainment industry or not. So that show's coming out in January. So I'm really, really excited about it because there's just so many. There's so many. Everybody has a story, but not everybody gets a chance to tell those stories because nobody asks those questions. And if you do ask that question, you literally have like 2 minutes of the interview. You know what I'm saying? But this is what it's dedicated to. So I'm really excited about that show.
I can't wait to hear that. And Jim, I know Real Talker's going. You got an interview with Jeremy Piven this week. The dude from Entourage, Ari Gold?
Yeah,
what?
I talked to him.
No.
What?
I feel like you talked to him before, didn't you, or no?
No, this is the first time. We talked Bears. We talked about Chicago roots. We talked about Entourage. He wants to come back, and I actually talked to Kevin Dillon this week too. So Johnny Drama.
Johnny Bananas.
Basically, I put him together. I'm like, hey, Piven said that he wants to come back. He's like, well, I've been pitching Doug Allen on it. I think it's going to happen. And then I told Kevin Dillon that Piven's got a podcast and he's looking to get his friends on. So he's like, I'm going to hit him up about it. We're going to cross promote. So I'm linking the Entourage cast back together, apparently.
Look at you, Jim. Okay.
Yeah, well, and I had a good chat recently with David Arquette too. I know that was on some dirt sheets too that came out. Good guy. I mean, talked about why he got into indie wrestling, and basically, it's all if he had not won that WCW championship, he never would have pursued wrestling. So that was all to redeem himself for getting that, as he called it, a promotional title run. So I think it honestly seemed we talked for a solid half an hour that he was bothered. Like he had that documentary that came out recently too. He Cannot Kill David Arquette, which is phenomenal. It's one of the best docs I've seen this year. And
what app is it on?
Huh?
What thing is it on? Hulu, Prime? What?
VOD, yeah. So it should be on one of those. I think Amazon maybe.
Okay.
But it's video on demand, so you can get it's phenomenal. And he was tortured literally on the inside about that WCW title and how him as a wrestling fan, he felt he tarnished it and how he wanted to redeem himself as an actual wrestler. And he did it, man. You're gonna see the stuff that he went through in that documentary. Guy almost died too. We talked about it, how he had one of his arteries cut in a match, in an indie match, and he almost bled out in a ring. Like you see it run, and it was interesting because Luke Perry and Jungle Boy drove him to the emergency room, literally saved his life because he couldn't.
Wow.
Yeah, so we talked about Luke Perry and his friendship. They were longtime friends. Luke Perry lived at his house when he got cast on 90210. A lot of cool stuff. That interview is up on Real Talker. So. David Arquette, hell of a guy, and then I just talked to Josh Duhamel. So
I love Las Vegas.
Like, runs off these names. Like I just talked to this guy, and
he gets it in. I'm interacting with the chat. I said last call for questions, and they're coming in. JLJ Media says, TK, were there any other hosts at AfterBuzz that you wish you could have worked with?
Yeah, I mean, I loved so. I wanted to work with other hosts. I just feel like sometimes the weekly grind of the shows. So here's the thing. I wasn't a TV watcher until I moved to LA. And what really made me watch more TVs and movies is because one day I was on TMZ and they talked about some TV show. I'm like, I've never heard of it. And they're like, how come you've never heard of the show? You work for TMZ. So now I went back and started watching like Karate Kid and all these movies and stuff that like I didn't I wasn't a TV watcher. So to me, sometimes watching TV is more of a job. So, and then some of the stuff I just didn't really care for. So I would love to work with other hosts, just not in that capacity, if that made sense. Okay. Like if there was some way of, this would have been an interesting thing. If there's like different topics that we could have talked about each week, and they would have paired two random dynamic hosts, not hosts that excuse me, didn't know what they're doing. Two dynamic hosts just in a room to just shoot the shit about a concept. I would have loved to do that.
But any person in particular, like a name drop?
I mean, I don't know. There's so many people that I saw that I didn't know by name, but I knew by face.
Got it.
So yeah, because there was like an era, like I said, I came in and a bunch of us came in at the same time, and I still talk to those people up to now. It's like a little sorority. But what are you laughing at, Flobo?
Because JLJ Media says there were a lot of bad hosts at AfterBuzz.
Yeah, ask me that question, Flobo. Ask me who I wanted to work with.
There was, but then like I said, the people that I came in with, that's why I still like. Some of them are working for Ball Alert. Some of them are producers for big shows. Some of them are doing like really great things, and it's just one of those things where
behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, some of them are actually doing stuff in front of the scenes too, Jim. But it's just kind of like one of those things. Like I wouldn't mind doing shows with those people because I know, and there's some people that I've seen that did good shows, and there are also people that didn't do great as well. But this is, I think, what we have to remember. Sometimes the principles that we think of as good hosts, like, might not be their thing. It's just like, everybody doesn't take their shoes off when they enter a house. Like, it's one of those things that you see somebody who's a host on like a network TV show, and you're like, what? How did they even get the job? Right. And just like they might be bringing in the numbers. So whatever works for them. So long as there are people that I didn't want to work with, and there were quite a few people that I just had no interest in. That's why coming towards the end of AfterBuzz, I was rarely there. Like I was good with the people that I already knew, because I knew that if you drop them in a situation, we can all work. Like if we didn't see the show, we can. People would think that we saw the show.
Yeah, people would. But Jim, what you think? Any hosts that you're on your list?
No.
Fair enough.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I've heard about some people who've been there a while. James Lott, who's in the chat, I heard good things about. So it seems like he's a vet. He would be easy to do a show with. But here's the thing. When we're talking about a lot of AfterBuzzers, it's, what starts out, I always said this in pub. It's like, I know it's an AfterBuzz, but it's like, hey guys, like a YouTuber.
Hey guys.
You can't, like, you just show that you're an amateur. Like, you need to have some seasoning, right? And if, for me, at least, if I were to want to do a show with anyone else, I loved our crew. I worked with a few people on other shows too, like Mike Thielen. I thought, the guy, he also taught hosting too, so he knew his thing. There were some good people, that I mentioned. James, Mike, that there's seasoned, that been in the industry.
You mentioned two people.
That's too much you did, TK. I'm just saying. You didn't know nobody.
I can mention a bunch of people. But
I know faces, though.
Yeah. But then there's, people who just were fans. And I'll say half of it, it's probably on AfterBuzz for making them to be fans. They're encouraging to act fans. And that does no service for them, because now they're going out in the world like, I'm a fan. But no, if you want to host or do a show like Flobo, you can't act like, hey guys, that sort of thing, bobbling your head. It's like, that doesn't. And I just found most of their shows or hosts boring. Like, I was like, come on, man, I wouldn't watch this for 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, there's no entertainment value. It's like, anyone at home could do these things. That's what I mean. True. I couldn't separate a lot of hosts than the fans in a lot of ways, because it was just like, well, let's look at this and or going in order. There's no entertainment value. That's what people tune in for, entertainment value. They watch the shows. They know what it's about. Have a point, have an actual opinion. People were scared to do that from what I observed on a lot of different shows, and there's some D-bags there that I absolutely despise too. So, that's another thing.
Well, there's three things that you just talked about, Jim. So you're talking about the people who are fans, and those are like the people who do, and no shade, because I do like Instagram Live and stuff like that, but those are the people who do like Instagram Live as shows, or who do shows, but it's not a produced show. You know what I'm saying? So you have those people who are fans and they just go and talk about the show, right? And then you have the people that are like hosts, and they actually either do the research or they have the concept in their head and they already know essentially what they're going to talk about, like how they're going to break it up, right? So that's a different type of person, right? And the thing is, this is what I found with VH1 when they had us for casting, because they had a VH1 Love and Hip Hop podcast, and they brought in people who were Instagrammers and influencers and stuff like that, and they couldn't host because the problem is they were so caught up in being, oh my God, like exactly what you're saying, that they didn't have the breakup of, okay, this is what they want, this is how we're going to break it down, and then this is what I'm going to insert as far as my personality, or there wasn't a formula to it. And
yeah, you gotta have a in a sense a breakdown script in your head, but the audience can never know that. You just need to know your marks and points in your head, and you need to know the time, the clock always in your head. Hey, how much time we have in the show? When can we hit this? But that stuff, it becomes innate. It becomes you learn how to do. Like that's why the season host at least understood that and grasped that. But it got to the point where there's afterboards that were there for 5-6 years that never grasped that concept because they just didn't know how to move a show along unless they had like everything written out and they're going scene by scene, segment by segment. But it was so choreographed that it's robotic. It comes up robotic because their head is so in the script. You know what I mean? You got to make it natural and conversational. That's what people want at the end of the day. Have an opinion, be natural, conversational, and have that ability, like you said, TK, as a host, know when to move along and how the show it goes. There's a flow to every show.
Yeah, because it's not about you. It's about the people.
No, it's about me when I did.
Yeah. It's all about Jim. It's all about Jim. But actually speaking about calling it.
It's really about the people who people want to hear what you have to say, but it's not about you, if that makes sense.
It's about sharing their potential perspective. You know what I mean? You're the voice of the people, what they want to say, basically.
Just real quick, I want to ask you guys. Well, I can't call them rapid fire hot tags. That is copyrighted.
Yes,
really quick questions. Which is better, the Flobitos Boo Thing of the Week or TK Boo? No, I'm kidding. I'm asking real quick questions. Real quick questions. The King's Court, right?
That's right.
I want your opinion on this one. You can be as deep or as light as you can. What's the one thing people get wrong about you?
Oh.
I ask questions that matter, y'all.
Yeah, that is a good one. I have an answer for mine.
Let's hear it, Jim.
People think that I am not myself, that I'm playing characters, which is absolutely not true. I am always
Jim's really natural in real life.
Yeah. I would not say that word. He is very Jim. I wouldn't say asshole.
Hey, I'm a fully evolved individual in a sense. Well, I will show you every side of me. I will show you the bad side, the good side. I'll throw people under a bus. I have no filter, and that's how I've always been. And I don't care technically because I would want, if I was a fan watching me or something or whatever a show I'm on, I would want to know that this guy's always telling me the truth, or at least his own truth, right? Yeah. So I'd never want to be some phony or say like if I ruffle feathers, so be it. It's my experience. It's my opinion of something, and sure, of course I don't like certain people and I don't like others, you know what I mean? But I'm always myself. So that's something. I wasn't playing a character in a lot of ways. People thought I always was. I was just always me, man, in so many levels. And I'm not as bad of a guy or as a dick as people probably think too.
No, you're a dick, but you're a nice dick.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know how to agree with that. I would say this: it's 100% Jim all the time. And when you're 100% your personality, people tend to take that as abrasiveness.
Right.
TK is 100% TK, so everyone's like, "Yo, what's up with TK, bro?" But that's just the way she is,
I definitely rock at a different level.
What about you, TK?
What do you say, Flo?
What's the one thing that people get wrong about you?
I think it's the same thing. More of a. I guess my mind is always in work mode, and it might not be the current thing, but my mind's always thinking about something else. And because I'm doing that, like I might not be, I'll be listening to you, but you might want more emotion. And so for me, like, here's an example. I went to go and see Oprah before Oprah was like, her show was done. And she was seamless, meaning that when they cut to commercial, like she stopped, she read over her notes. The lady was doing her hair and also, but she couldn't be bothered. Like she was looking at her notes. Everything that was happening around her, she wasn't paying attention to. And then the moment the camera came on, that's when she was on. And so for me, that's typically what happens to me. More like, okay, when it's time to be on, that's when I'm on. But anything other than that, like if you want me to be like this, you know, big personality, like I'm really not. Like if I could just stay home, which I am kind of, if I could just stay home and, you know, just kind of watch the shows that I like and do all the stuff that I like and still make money and do all this, I would do that. Like I'm way more of an introvert. So I think people misunderstand that and think more like, oh, well, she's a bitch because she doesn't want to like talk, or she doesn't want to do this, or she doesn't want, or she's not as friendly, or she's not like, I'm not going to be that totally like outgoing person. Like that's just not my personality.
All right, so question number 2: what's something a fan or follower has done nice for you? The nicest thing a fan or follower has ever done for you?
I think the nicest thing, like we were actually talking about this on Black Queens Uncut. We just did a show the other day. I think the nicest thing, or the most interesting thing is, 'cause I don't really think I'm that interesting, if that makes sense. Like I've done some cool things, but I think everybody does cool things. So it always, always kind of surprises me when somebody, like from my radio days, like I was on the Woody Show maybe 5 years ago, and I was even on the show. I used to answer the phones, and they used to put me on the show every couple times a week. And there are people who still hit me up because of that, and they've followed me throughout my career. And so there are people who like saw me. I met on a date, and this guy didn't realize I was from TMZ, and he's like, "Oh my God, we used to like watch you." It's just so interesting that people, I guess, actually watch and pay attention, and they actually.
That is true.
And you know what I'm saying? And then they actually show love and like they actually respect like your opinion, because you know, one of the reasons I got into this industry was like the educational factor. Like I came from a fitness background. I was doing boot camps and stuff like that, and they started tapping me to do fitness segments on television. And I love the fact that I could touch different people on a bigger mass than like one at a time. So that's why I came into it. So if I could just like at least, you know, instill one little educational factor, or like, you know, talk about the Samoan dynasty and have like a really good reason why, and it happens, then, you know, I at least know them, and people remember that it happens. Then
We're out of time. We're out of time.
Know them on the right track.
There we go. That's a good moderator. Right? Cut that crap off. Right?
Wrap it up. I just
Play the music.
But Jim, same thing, man. A fan or a follower or a date, I guess, something cool they get to you.
Oh man, Dylan Matthews, man. No one's been more loyal as a fan to all of us that I can say is Dylan, man, doing the memes. Wasn't Dylan the one that hooked me up with, or tried to hook it up with that porn
His
star?
sister?
Well, that didn't happen, Dylan. So I'm disappointed. But that porn star, remember that porn star that like whoever did it, she did the commercial for In-N-Out, where I was talking about it.
Yeah. She's a fitness model, not a porn star.
Well, it's close, okay? Same industry.
Oh, shout out to Dylan, because I think he had a birthday a couple weeks ago. So happy birthday!
Oh yes, he did. Big celebration there.
Yeah.
Big family, great family. Dylan definitely #1 fan. So the coolest.
I think there's so many.
I feel like having 350 gifs of myself from Dylan is totally like the nicest thing, man. And he and I always like chat about and laugh about the funny things from AfterBuzz too. So I'm in that same boat. And if you guys who are just curious about the question, my answer to the first question, the one thing I think people get wrong about me is that like I can't code switch, but I can. My broadcast voice ain't my Brooklyn voice. That's why I never use it on these shows.
That's right.
I never heard your Brooklyn voice.
Well, you won't. Like, how come we never know what the first name is, TK? I know you for how long? What does TK stand for? Huh? What's it stand for?
Most people don't know what the first name is.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It's a mystery. Okay. Last question. Do you consider yourself successful? Why or why not?
Ooh. Let's hear. I want to hear what Jim has to say.
No, because for me, success is. Here's the thing: do I consider myself good? Yeah. For me, I have such high expectations for myself that I legitimately 100% believe this, whether I'm crazy or not. When I look at people like Seacrest or whoever in my industry, I don't think anyone at the end of the day is better than me. Like, I mean, I might be on their same level or close to it. I truly believe that when it comes down to it. So for me, success is literally becoming a monster name or just becoming a monster in that sense. But no, for me, so it's like success is always, I'm never satisfied. You know what I mean? I guess I got that Jordan mentality. It's like, I need more. It's always more and more and more. And it kind of eats you up sometimes. It's too much of it where you put such high expectations on things that it's hard to live up to. But for me, the ultimate is literally being the greatest to ever do it at this, whatever this is I'm doing, you know? So successful. I've done some successful things, you know, I guess people would say, but for myself personally, no, I'm still ways away, but I'm coming for it.
Yeah, I think I feel like the same way. Like I've done some amazing things, but yeah, I don't think I'll ever be satisfied because there's always something else that I'm kind of going for. So, am I successful? Meaning that like anything I put my mind to, it comes. Well, Jim,
It's daytime.
I mean,
There's a date.
Hitting
no, 5
up.
more minutes.
Yeah.
Anything I put my mind to, it happens. But there's just so many other things that, like, you know, that to me is not. But then I also realize that it's still an honor and a privilege and a blessing to be in a lot of situations. Because there are a lot of people who want to do things like, for instance, have a podcast. And, you know, they put the podcast, but they don't know the concept and everything behind it. And, you know, they're not going to be successful at it. So, you know, Flobo having 10 billion podcasts, that's
stop.
You know, Jim interviewing all these amazing people. That's success, because people want to interview folks, and the closest person they can get to interview is, you know, the family member who is on some theater play in, you know, Midwest Montana. No shade to them, but you know, to get to these celebrities is an art, and then to actually get past the gatekeeper and the gatekeeper saying, yeah, you can interview them, is a whole nother thing. So, you know, there's just so many different layers to it. So I count it all as I think I'm more blessed than successful, if that makes sense.
One thing I'll say about us to kind of quickly wrap it up, all of us are self-made. Yeah, that's
because I got a date.
Somebody has a date, so we need to wrap. This up.
All right, go ahead, bro. Wrap it up.
No, I called it a night with that situation. But the thing is, we're all self-made. So when people think like, oh, I owe it to like, I'll throw an AfterBuzz. Like a lot of people do owe it to them because they never had anything. They were the first introduction, and they don't have anything afterwards. We were all self-made. TK was a TMZ and VH1. She's done things, so that was a get for a place like AfterBuzz. Flobo, you just went there for a cup of coffee, and look how you've ascended. You know what I mean?
Really? You just went there for a cup of coffee?
About a year and a half.
Yeah. But look at the guy. Like, here's the thing. It's like you don't realize the talent was there. You know what I mean? It's just that it wasn't utilized properly or appreciated, but you made the best out of it, right? And now look at you, what you're doing. As far as me, you know what I mean? Like I think I told Steven this actually. I'm like, I was good before AfterBuzz. I'm good at AfterBuzz, and I'll be even better after AfterBuzz. You know what I mean? That's what I told him. I think it was my final words when I spoke
That's
this.
definitely a Jim thing would say that.
Yeah. Exactly. But that's the thing, you know what I mean? You kind of make yourself, and you know, we were all fortunate to be in one time to kind of get to know each other. But like I always told Flobo all the time, and Mac, it's like, we know, it's like the locker room thing. We know who's good and who's not, right? Yeah. And I knew all of you guys were good at the moment I met you. I knew it from like the first day. You just know when you see talent and people who get it and are good at it. And versus people who never will. And you see just like, nah, they don't have it.
I'm glad you did, because my raw audition was terrible.
Good.
You know, my raw audition was
You're right. Both
but look how fast I remember we were on Chrissy's show, our first show, both of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? something to wrestle after with Bruce Pritchard. And you came in, it took you one day to realize basically, how to fit yourself in. And you had your lane. I even noticed in the first show, this guy knows wrestling more than I do. He loves the crap. He's been a real fan, and he brings that to the table. And you found your niche immediately. And that you were a rookie. No one gave you guidance, but you found your way, and then you found your way to moderating, because that's what you're the best at. So we were good. I mean, it's like one thing we can say, look back, is like, wow, that place had some really, really good people. And it's not because they made them. It's because we were there for whatever time we were at that space, but we were, where our careers are going to take us in the future, we'll see. But that, for me, it's like, that's looking back at some all-stars when they were at their early days.
Fair enough. We have to get out of here because Jim is actually busy. But Dylan has a quick question for you, TK. What's Harvey Levin like? I'm not sure you even interacted with him. How does that even work at TMZ?
What? The
TMZ guy, Harvey Levin.
Oh, Harvey. What's he like?
Well, what's he like?
Oh,
we already know. But
he's passionate. And
sounds like
here's what I would say. And this is for anybody who has big companies. So if you've read anything on TMZ, there has been a lot of bad press and stuff like that. However, it's one of those things, if you grow something from nothing and you're there to witness it all, and then you have people who, they're not going to be 100% in because it's not their child. It's not their baby. So in that case, you're going to be very protective over it. So it's a catch-22. As somebody coming in, you'll be like, oh, like he's very cutthroat. However, it's his baby. And I would do the same thing. As somebody, we're looking to hire people for my business. If they're not up to par, then I don't have time because I'm paying you to do something. So, it's with anybody. If you talk about Steve Jobs, if you talk about Phil Knight, like everybody considers them to be like assholes or to be this or to be this, to be that. So long story short, he was exactly what he is if you're working for somebody who created something from scratch. I haven't met anybody who has created something from scratch and they're absolutely nice. And actually I'm lying. The only person that I have is Big Boy from Big Boy's Radio, but I didn't work directly under him, every single day. So I don't know what those people think of him. So
fair enough. Well, as we're at our hour, we're actually beyond that. It's about high time to get out of here. This has been a lot of fun. I really like to sit with you guys and just chat about the good old days and what you're working on because you guys are making it happen. You know what happens next. TK, where can the world find you online, ma'am?
You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. So all the new shows will be on at tktrinidad.com coming in January. If you want to buy any cocoa butter, we have a big sale. I've extended it to Wednesday, so buy one, get 50% off. You can go to centerin.co. We have body scrubs, we have body butters, we have body wash, we have candles, we have beard oil, we have hair oil, we have beard shampoo, we have hand sanitizer, we have all that. So buy one, get 50% off. The code word is black, so you can just put that in and you get the discount. And Black Queen Uncut comes on Wednesdays. Women's Wrestling Talk comes on Tuesdays. Women's Wrestling Talk, the live news edition, comes on Thursdays at 4:00. And the other shows, like I said, 2 new shows are going to be coming out in January.
Dylan says the center in company count was at 3, and he said the show was incredible. Jim Alexander.
Of course he kept count.
Where can the world find you, bro?
Find me in Chicago. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
But Real Talker, man. That's where it's at. Social media, you can see on the handle there at the Jim Alexander, hasn't changed. Real Talker. I need some subscribers on YouTube. I'm growing all these interviews. I'm getting all these, people on there. So at least subscribe. Subscribe for the homie, right? That's what you always say.
Yeah, support the homie.
Support the homie. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's been the focus. So we'll see what happens next. But I'm getting better interviews, so I guess bigger names are coming. So
you got John Leguizamo last month, man. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I had John Leguizamo on, and so it's been good. I had recently the guy RoboCop and Joel Kinnaman too. So
Wow.
Yeah, Joel Kinnaman from Suicide Squad. So I have a lot of cool people. If you're interested in these interviews, check out Real Talker on YouTube. Visit the website, realtalker.com. Subscribe, support.
Yeah. This is What's Up Flobo After Hours presented by Clipper Ranks. Yo, if you got a beard, you're part of Beard Gang, Make sure you get yourself all suited and booted at clipperranks.com. Use promo code Flobo for a discount. This show is part of the New Amsterdam Entertainment umbrella. Learn more at newamsterdam.com. That's KNEW Amsterdam.com. But until next time, peace out.
The bed is still the